Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sideline Eye podcast. We're looking forward to the Armagh ladies All Ireland quarter final this weekend when they take on Meath on Sunday. Joining me to do so is former Armagh star Caoimhe Morgan and sports journalist for Off the Ball and former Meath footballer Aisling O'Reilly. So, girls, thanks very much for joining us. We have an exciting game coming up this weekend. Two teams that are in good form. I suppose Caoimhe will start with Armagh. Weren't in great form during the league and probably had a disappointing league campaign. They had the goal of getting promotion to Division 1, but come championship they really hit form. They're into their second Ulster final in 2 years, and now they'll learn quarter final as well.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's a tactic of Armagh or not. In 2020, they didn't have a great league campaign either and seemed to peak at the right time. I know last year was a very, very difficult year for all teams. Rory Grimes did an awful lot of work with them behind the scenes, strength and conditioning coach, and did a lot of individual tailored plans for them and made sure they were doing the work that they needed to do. And I think it really shone through last year. And they've built upon it this year again, brought in a couple of new people. Denise Hagan, I would have remembered her as when I played with her, is in as goalkeeping coach. Rory has really, even upped it again. And, a few new people in there to help bolster it up in management. So working really, really hard. And as I've always said, winning breeds winning. And that's the case of Meath really at the minute as well. So that's why this is going to be such an exciting encounter on Sunday. Armagh are building. They've brought a lot of young people in there. Someone that I'm really, really impressed with at the minute is Grace Ferguson. She just doesn't put a foot wrong. You have players that are stepping up there, aren't the older generation. The younger generation are taking a lot more responsibility now. So it's a very, very exciting prospect going forward for Armagh at the minute, I think, anyway.
Armagh seems to be riding on the crest of a wave at the minute. There's a lot of excitement around this ladies' team. And Aisling Meath's probably the same. I seen your tweet maybe a couple of weeks ago. They were All-Ireland finalists in 18-19. They got promotion to Division 2. They've got promotion now to Division 1. They're playing senior football. And now they're taking Armagh on Sunday.
Yeah, it's just quite unreal. I think for a lot of the young girls in Meath as well, to see this happening is just something else. You can see it around my club in Ratoath. Like it's becoming normal to watch them playing in Crow Park, which is mad to say. They played there for the Division 2 final this year against Kerry, and then obviously they played against Westmeath then in the All-Ireland final. So it's brilliant to see them out doing things like that, because it sparks that belief, in that younger generation of girls coming through. And this team, they're just amazing to watch. I think they play a very running game. It's everyone gets back and everyone gets forward, and you have to be super fit to be making that Meath team. At the moment, it's just unreal to see. A lot of work has gone in behind the scenes as well. And they're a great bond. I think that's the biggest thing that I noticed with this team. Like they hang around together, they go out together, they do everything together. And you can really see that then when it comes to being on the pitch. And they've had a few tough times, I'd say there about 4 years ago, things sort of fell apart, and, they really grouped together again, and they went again, and that's how they went on then to win the intermediate, then obviously to go up to Division 1, and now they're playing senior football, and what a statement they're making in that senior football for the first year that they're playing in it. So yeah, as Caoimhe said, it's going to be a massive game on Sunday, and I'd say it'll be seriously close.
I think Caoimhe, 2 years ago, you can correct me maybe if I'm not correct with this. Armagh beat Cork. It was the same day Amy Mackin tore ACL.
That was yesterday. The anniversary of that was yesterday, Sean.
That was 2 years ago then.
I remember.
So that day Armagh beat Cork, and that was maybe Armagh's big breakthrough win, that the signalled their intent to push into the top 3 or 4 teams in the country by beating Cork. Meath maybe feel the same at the weekend. They're coming in and they'll make a big statement if they can beat this Armagh team.
Meath remind me, and this is going down memory lane, of the team that I played on in 2005, because there was no intermediate championship back in the olden days, and we had the junior and just the senior, and we won the junior in 2005, and we stepped up and got into a senior All-Ireland final in 2006. So that's why I know, when I have watched Meath, I commentated on them last year in the intermediate against Down. They are an up-and-coming outfit. You can see the bond that they have. They are not a team to be taken lightly, and I just hope that Armagh, will have their homework done and won't be thinking, that, they're a team that is a flash in the pan, because they're not. This is a process that has been building with them since 2017. We played them in a challenge match 3 years ago, and I just knew they were so well organised. They have a plan, they stick to it. As Aisling says, they play everybody behind the ball. They are seriously fit. They have great players. You've Emma Dugan, Stacey Grimes, Marie O'Shaughnessy and Vicky Wall there, and a whole load of others. The one that stood out for me the most was probably, I really enjoyed watching them, that's I know so much about them. The one that stands out the most for me is Emma Troy.
Yeah, big time.
She is deadly. She plays everywhere. So I'm just hoping that Armagh have done as much research as I have enjoyed watching Meath play, and they're ready to take on those big, responsibilities of marking certain players and, know the system of play of Meath. It's going to be very, very hard to break it down.
And actually, how big of a game is this for Meath? As I say, this will probably be their big breakthrough win if they can get it. Armagh's coming into this game, I would say, as slight favourites, despite Meath now going to be in a Division 1 team next year. How big is this for Meath if they're going to get the win this weekend?
Yeah, I think going in as underdogs, Meath will be pretty happy enough with that. That they'll be delighted going in, less pressure maybe. But this is the game. I think this is the game where it really tells where Meath are at. We know they're a brilliant outfit. We know what they've done in the last number of years. None of that will ever change. But this will say if they're in the top 4 teams, up there in the top 4 or 5 teams, say, in the country. And that's absolutely massive for your first year up at senior. And I think that's what we're all wondering. We were talking to training the other night, just friends or club mates, and we were wondering, where are they at? This is going to tell us, So the big question was, who's going to mark Aimee Mackin? We were all chatting away about that, and there's a bit of crack about it all, and it's exciting. And that's what we probably have missed, I'd say, for years in Meath. And now finally, it's so exciting to watch them in senior. And yeah, it's absolutely massive for them. And I do think that if, as Kiva said, they can get the systems right, that, they could have a shock in the cards here. But in saying that, now Armagh are a team that I followed for quite a few years now. So exciting. They have been building as well for a number of years. And as you said, they're sort of at their peak as well at the moment. So yeah, it's going to be so tough to call this one.
And you touched on it there, Aisling. It's something we're going to have to talk about, is the impact of Aimee Mackin. Since she's come back from the dreaded ACL injury there last year, she's been unstoppable, really. And who do you see picking her up? I know you're a big fan of her. Everybody's a big fan of her. Yeah. Who do you see picking her up, and how will Meath plan for her?
Kiva mentioned her, Emma Troy. This is the one player that I think they could put on her. I don't know now. We were asking, one of my club mates is on the team, and we were asking, and she was giving us nothing, so she wasn't telling us. But I think it'll be Emma Troy. Emma Troy is every forward's nightmare. She's pace to burn. So she you never really see that in a corner back, where she'd probably beat you in 100 meters, beat the corner forward in 100 meters, no bother to her. Seriously fit. She plays that running game as well. She goes from corner forward or corner back, and she's always getting on the scoreboard, which is massive for a corner back. She's got player of the game the last 2 games for Meath. Very nippy, just annoying, really annoying, gets her hand in there, and she's always in front. So I think they would have a seriously good battle, but at the same time, they probably would have to sacrifice Emma then going forward. I think she would just have to almost a man marking job for the day, and that's what she does. Don't mind the ball, don't mind anything else, just stare right at Aimee Mackin and don't let her move. So I think that's probably the one person that I could see them putting on her.
Keith, I suppose the good thing about the Armagh attack is that Aimee Mackin's so good, obviously, and she always catches the headlines, but the rest of the forwards aren't bad either. And you have Alex Clark has come into it the last couple of years. You have Kelly Mullen coming back from injury, Catherine Marley coming back from injury. You have plenty of options up front. If Aimee Mackin is tied up, Armagh have plenty of options for somebody to step up and maybe take the game to Meath.
Well, completely agree. Yeah, I think that's something Armagh had lacked over the last few years, maybe was a bit more clinical forwards, and your team will set up, to try and counteract Aimee Mackin, but there are other quality players there, and, you don't want to get too caught up in it either. Monaghan managed to, in the Ulster final last year, keep Aimee quite quiet in the game, but the other forwards, they did step up. Like Alex Clark is magical. She would be my nightmare to mark, because you don't know what she's going to do. She's so creative, she's very hard to predict. So she's great in there. Yeah, Catherine, thank God, is back from injury. I think she's best at the number 10 role because she'll end up filtering back and she will cover for the attacking half back line that Armagh have. She does it quite instinctively and then can get right up there and get you wee sneaky goals or be in the play and make 4 goals. You've Kelly Mallon and Fionnuala McKenna there who can take a score from the edge of the D, and I know that Meath tend to sit around that edge of the D area, so Armagh might have to look into maybe taking longer range shots. But yeah, look, there's loads of quality forwards. One that I always sing her praises, and I think she's a real unsung hero of Armagh, is Aoife McCoy. Aoife McCoy does Trojan work. You don't always see it on camera, but I mean, the amount of work that she does for Armagh is unbelievable. Her driving runs, even, making space for the likes of Amy and other players there. You've other quality forwards there. So Armagh won't be tend to think, if Amy's out of the game, we won't have anything else. They'll have lots of other options.
I think you did mention it there, keep Armagh's attacking half back line on. It's a part of the game that I love because obviously the forwards don't always like tracking back. So maybe if an Eve Lowry or Lauren McConville or Tina Grimes maybe get a bit of a free pass to go forward at times. On the game against Monaghan a couple of weeks ago, I shared on Twitter Armagh's 4 goals, and it was only when I watched it back then a couple of times Eve Lowry was actually involved. She scored 1 and she was involved in the other 3. I think she got 2 points in the first half, and Lauren McConville assisted both of them. So Armagh's attacking and Jove's there attacking from everywhere. That's also a good point, that if again Amy Mackin is tied up in a way, Armagh are literally attacking from everywhere. Yeah,
they really are. There's an awful lot of creative play. There's a lot of trust there because it takes an awful lot of trust to let your half back line go up the pitch, because you're leaving a lot of space there. So that's why the likes of Catherine Marley coming back and other players working as a team allows the half back line to do that. Lauren McConville has forward genes in her body anyway. She would have played in the half forward line before she went to Australia. So she has the ability to do that. They just have to be very smart about how they do it. You worry when your team is going to play, a good outfit like Meath. And I don't know, as Aisling had talked about there, have Armagh been tested yet? They've played an awful lot of Ulster sides. Where are they at? That's what we all want to know about our teams this weekend. Where are they? The attacking half back line is lovely and it's great when things are going well. But, our Sarah would always say to me, she's screaming to them about the Gulf of Mexico, which we would always talk about. And you don't want to leave too much room there either, where Meath will punish them. So, look, I'm sure they're going to play it very, very smart, but it is lovely to see, people being able to attack, maybe that they don't necessarily have to play that totally defensive role all the time, and they can trust each other and fill in the spaces and let other players go forward, yeah.
Aisling, is that maybe a place that Meath will try to exploit, that they'll nearly invite that half forward line or half back line on, and get the turnover, and then you have that loads of space in front of Armagh's full back line?
Yeah, it's definitely an area that they're probably looking at. I think one thing that they'll be saying to themselves going into this game is that Armagh are well able to score goals. So I'd say that's a big thing on their mind, that they know that if they don't let Armagh get in and get these goals, that, push them out to take their points, block up that D, that then, they have a serious chance in this game. So I think that will probably be a big tactic of theirs is to everyone get back and block out that D and then break a pace. And not many teams can do that because you have to be seriously fit, as Kiva said. And one thing that Meath have is fitness. You can even see it from a lot of the girls coming off the bench. They could be starting on any team. You'd be shocked seeing some of them sitting on the bench, but the minute they come in, they're straight in there as if they were on the pitch from the get-go. So I think the biggest thing will be get back, block up that D, let them get their points, let them go for the long range scores and keep pushing them out, keep the pressure on and just not let them in on the goals.
And of course, we're talking about Armagh going in as favourites. The last time these two teams met was actually the last game of normality before COVID and before lockdown restrictions come in. It was on the 8th of March, I think, last year. And Meath gave Armagh a good hammering in the athletic grounds. It was 121 to 3-5. So, Aisling, that's obviously going to fill Meath full of confidence this weekend.
Yeah, I think so. Of course, it will. It was the last time they played them. But if you actually do look at those two teams, who was actually playing that day, they're quite different to who will be out there now on Sunday. So I think Meath know that since that game, it's a very different Armagh team that they're going to be playing on Sunday. And even for themselves, they're probably a brand new Meath team in a way. Some of the girls that I've seen playing aren't even on the team anymore. So, you know, there's a lot of changes going on there too, but it will give them confidence to know that they can beat them, they have bet them. You know, it sparks the belief, and that's a factor in it too. So I don't think Amy was playing that day, was she?
No, she wasn't playing that day.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember going back and checking and seeing, because I was like, wow, this is a massive result. Not saying that Amy's the only player, but, you know, we all know what she brings to Armagh. So, yeah, that'll be a big thing too. And they'll be thinking those things going into this. It was great to get that win, but they'll be looking now at a different Armagh team come Sunday, and they'll know it'll be a different animal, I think.
And Caoimhe, does a result like that, I always think as a winning team, it's good because it fills you full of confidence. As a losing team, you can nearly write it off, or you can go, let's use this as revenge. And I suppose because it's so long ago, it's nearly 18 months ago, maybe it doesn't have an impact for Armagh this weekend.
Well, it's funny, as a player, you'll just make it suit yourself, as you say. So, you know, if it didn't go your way, you'll talk about the things that, you know, well, sure, you know, maybe we didn't prepare well, or, you know, there were missing players. I don't think that Caroline, they didn't have Amy, they didn't have Catherine Marley, they didn't have Tierna Grimes. You know, everyone was talking about COVID and that kind of thing. So Armagh, I'd say, would just write it off. You know, that's probably the right thing for them to do in that instance. You know, they'll want to be in the best mindset as possible, and they'll be thinking about, you know, their winning streak up to now, and, you know, how best they can prepare for this game. So they'll not think too much about it. They'll probably have watched a lot of Meath games up until now and be thinking about the team of now, and that's really what they need to be doing.
And actually, like, I talk all the time on this podcast about forwards and attacking play, and Armagh obviously have, as we said, will attack from all angles. Meath have a fairly good attack too, and I think in the league campaign in the groups, did they score 12 or 13 goals, I think, in their 3 group games, and then a couple in the league semi-final and final as well. So Meath are a team that won't shy back from attacking as well.
No, definitely not. And I was just looking at some of the statistics, and it's not just the 6 forwards that are getting on the scoreboard. You know, you have the midfielders, you have some of the halfbacks, the cornerbacks. Emma, she's getting it on it every game. So they every game they have nearly 10 different scorers, which is massive. But that attacking line is just brilliant to watch. I'm sure we've all seen Vicky Wall last week. She just literally ran straight through from the midfield, straight through on goal, and went direct. It's brilliant to see her run so direct and put it in the back of the net, no fear whatsoever. And just playing off her then is Emma Duggan. That's her club mate. Emma's only 18. It's unbelievable. And she just plays off her. You know, they play a really good running game, you know, a lot of support play together. So they work well in there. And then you Stacey Grimes taking the frees. You know, you really can always count on her. She's very steady, calm. So yeah, they're exciting to watch. I think that's probably the really exciting part of Meath football, is that attacking line. When they get going, they're very tough to stop. And you see probably the half forwards do a lot of looping back. You know, they get down in the half back line, come back on the counter and feed the ball in quickly then. So yeah, they're a brilliant outfit to watch, the 6 forwards when they get going.
We're obviously talking about 2 attack-minded teams and exciting forward lines. Caoimhe, could we see a high-scoring shootout this weekend? Is that how the game's going to be decided, do you think?
I think once both teams settle into the game and kind of get the measure of each other, it could be a very high-quality scoring game. You know, as we have said, sit around the D a lot, so you might see longer range shots coming in, and then maybe a few, you know, couple of sneaky goals on either end. You know, as Aisling said, Meath's style of football, I love it. Having played against it and tried to mark it, it's really, really difficult. You know, and they have quality forwards in there, as do Armagh. So I think it lends itself for a good quality game of football with good scoring in it too, because they're very attacking minded.
And does the game being Clonus help Armagh and Caoimhe? Because Armagh obviously would have played there more recently than Meath. Maybe it has no impact at all on the game.
Oh, it definitely will have an impact. Armagh love Clonus. We've great memories there. It's a good big pitch, so Armagh will like that as well. They'll be able to use the width of the pitch. You know, and the players constantly run off the ball, playing the same kind of style of football as me. So, like, it will suit both teams, I would say. But Armagh have a history there, and they love playing there, and they tend to have good results there. So, you know, from an Armagh point of view, it would be a very, very big plus for us, yeah.
And Aisling, just to finish up then, what are you looking for this weekend? Obviously a Meath win, but as a fan, what do you expect this weekend? Obviously, we're talking about two attack-minded teams. We're hoping for a big scoring shootout, maybe an entertaining shootout. But what are you looking for this weekend?
Yeah, that's it. I just hope both teams can settle into it. There's a lot on the line. So as Caoimhe said, that both of them just settle in, take their scores, relax into the game, because this could have potential to be one of the best games of the year, I think. You know, we have some of the most exciting players with Vicky Wall, Amy Mackin, some of the best ladies players in the game playing, so against each other as well. A lot of the girls have never came up against a lot of the Armagh girls, and that's talk of it too. Geez, I'm marking her, I'm coming against her. You know, there's all of that coming on as well. So, you know, they're very excited, and yeah, I just hope that it's free flowing. You know, the girls get into the style of play that they're used to, get the ball in early, they're able to track back. And yeah, I'm excited to see Emma Troy, if she is on Amy, what sort of job is done there. But yeah, it'll be a high scoring game, I think. But if Meath keep out the goals, push them out to take their points, you never know.
And Caoimhe, just to finish up then, Armagh done so well last year, getting to the All-Ireland semi-final and pushed Dublin really to the pin of their collars. How big is it for this team and for Ronan Murphy to get back to that stage again?
I think it's very important for Armagh. You know, this is not a team that has just, you know, come about over the last couple of years. This has been a real work in progress. You know, there's a lot of girls there who maybe are coming to the end of their playing days and, you know, really deserve to get something out of this. There's a lot of young players coming in who are learning from them. There's a great dynamic, and I really just want them to get what they deserve. They are a top quality team. And, you know, as Aisling says, you know, you just want the team to give up their best on the day, and whoever wins out, well, that's what you want. But I do think there is a lot more in Armagh, and I do think they're peaking at the right time. So it's going to be extremely exciting.
Definitely a good one to look forward to, girls. Thanks very much for coming on and giving us your thoughts on the game. It's taking place on Sunday at 2 o'clock in Clonus. So, Caoimhe and Aisling, thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.